On a smooth Friday afternoon. How's everyone doing? It's the Teddy Bear, and welcome to Night Tracks. Lord have mercy. In today's artist spotlight, I'm going back to 1978. Love was new. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, sure was.
It was a beautiful thing. One of the most gifted and most talented percussionists that this industry has ever seen. Mr. Danny Seraphin, of course, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the legendary group and co-founder of Chicago. Brother, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. It is definitely an honor to have you on the show. That 1978 Chicago album, that's the first album that I bought.
Hmm.
First, first album that I bought. And the entire album was incredible. But when I got you on the show, I said, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, you've experienced so much in your life, personally and also from a musical standpoint. And I wanted to speak to you about the spiritual aspect and being grounded and being even killed as far as putting things in a proper perspective as far as your personal life and then going forward as far as your musical journey.
Well, at that time, at that time, I was just doing the best I can do with what I had, like everyone else. And
Right.
music is what keeps me most grounded, and of course, my spirituality within the music. It helps me to keep it in perspective and to keep it flowing, no matter what's going on in my life. Um, like everyone else, I have troubles and good days, bad days, and some really tragic days. But uh, that time was a pretty happy time of my life. I was married, very happily married, raising my children. Uh, and of course, Chicago. I was in the throes of Chicago, and that was everything. Really,
Right.
that was my whole life. I ate, slept, and drank, and uh, breathed, and everything else. Chicago, and so I was so busy doing what I was doing, so busy living that life that quite often, you lose track of what's important. So uh, I pray a lot. I pray a lot. I know that when I go through anxiety, times of anxiety and sadness, I always pray. Uh, so that's my salvation. My drumming, my really true form of praying is when I play music. So
I think all of us go through so much, and we need to have that balance in our life, being able to separate the two. And you are, especially from a male perspective, we have a tendency to be so driven because we want so much, and then a lot of times we forget the most important things in life, as you stated earlier. Your family, being a father, and it's incredible. It really is, especially now with just going through this pandemic, and you realize how precious life truly is. And I wanted to ask you now, as far as your standpoint, where are you at right now, musically?
musically, where I'm at right now is I'm in the space of being. Uh, I'm just enjoying. I'm getting up in years, so I'm really enjoying performing, playing for people, and I'm not exploring so much anymore. I mean, I still do because that's my nature, but
Right.
I'm just more into uh, sharing in the sense of what I do, how I did it, and also what I can do with my music to make the world a better place. So uh, I'm really more into giving than taking. I'm really focusing on that, and
Right.
that's been my mantra for many years now. So, and that's the way I want to live from here on out. I still, I get I've had so much gratification, with people always telling me about. how much they love the music and how much it made their lives better. So I have to remain grounded, and it's not so much as I take it as with a grain of salt, but I take it with humility. The respect that people lay upon my doorstep because of the music and because of my drumming, uh, and so I just I'm really grateful. I'm really living grateful. I mean, I have my problems like everyone else. I have sadness and I have my own problems, but really above that all and underneath all of that, I always have this foundation of music, and I'm really blessed for that. And I came to the realization that that's why the Lord put me here was to play music and to play drums, and to share that with other people and bring good things through the music for other charities, causes, and just lifting people with it.
Right. Well, it definitely resonates through your music. I had this conversation, or rather, this little tete-a-tete with my son, and he's 20 years old, and he constantly gets on me, Dad, you're stuck in a time warp and this and that. And I tell him all the time, I said, unless you were there in the 70s, you have no idea the amount of fantastic music, not just music, but pure musicianship. It was about
Yeah,
bringing people together. And you were one of the few percussionists out there. You were the backbone for Chicago. And I'm just being honest, just from my humble opinion, when you left Chicago, it was never the same. And I'm not
right.
saying that to be disrespectful to them, but you you were the stove. You said you said it. You set everything up from a musical standpoint, and then when you left, it was never the same. And I said when I got you on the show, I wanted to ask you, why is it so hard or so challenging when you start off together as a band of brothers, united for one goal? It's based upon music, love, trust, and mutual respect. How does it go from that where egos get involved and people turn on each other?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of contributing factors. There's wealth and power, and then of course drugs. Drugs to play a big drugs and alcohol because it for some reason this that lifestyle really attracts a lot of unsavory people or people that are just out for their to get from you what they can get from you, whether it be even using your name, being around you, to the point of stealing from you. So there's a lot of external influences that really ultimately pull people apart, and then of course then you go from being very very humble beginnings. Most of us, not all of us, but most of us came from very humble beginnings to all of a sudden being millionaires, and that changes your perspective. It changes everything. You get turned upside down. So I'm not trying to make excuses for some of like for our bad behaviors, but you get turned upside down and you lose yourself.
Yeah,
So there's a whole process. I mean, but that happens to many most people, and so one form or another, you're going to crash and burn in life,
yeah,
and it's how you get up and recover and learn from it and share that, and you share that knowledge, that experience, and and you know rise up victoriously in a sense of through your spirit and your soul. You become that old saying, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, that's true both spiritually, that's spiritually and emotionally and physically. It's across the board. So uh, I feel like from what I went through, the trials and tribulations of what I've gone through have made me a better person, and what I've gone through as a musician have made me a better drummer and a musician. So I think I think I think it's pretty much the best version of me at this point. At least it better be. Let me just put it to you this way: it ain't perfect. and
Hey,
by any stretch, but it's the best version of me. And I'm striving to continue to make it better. But there are things at your age you kind of accept about yourself, but
yeah,
not you never accept rudeness and meanness and you know greed, and you just can't accept that. So I feel like I'm being the best version of myself, but still striving to be better.
right. I had the pleasure of speaking to Chuck Negron of Three Dog Night,
Right? Yeah.
and his story and the things that he went through, fascinating. And it was
Yeah.
truly a blessing for him to still be here with
hmm
us.
Right.
And then I listened to your story and the things that you've been through. And now I see you. And one of the things I've heard you say in an interview previously, you said, you know what, there's nothing that can replace having peace of mind. And I wanted to ask you, what does peace of mind mean to Danny Seraphin?
Well, it's fleeting. Peace of mind is fleeting, and you constantly have to work to get it back, and reflect and keep reminding yourself how fortunate you are, and what and everything you have, from the love you have in your life to even the lack of companionship, or that maybe if you're lonely at this point, but the good things. And the foundation I have of music is such a strong foundation for me to rebound off of in my darkest moments or whatever. I'm just very, you know, peace of mind is playing my music, um, going to bed at night, knowing that I did more good than bad that day. And I don't mean that to say that flippantly. I mean, because it is a struggle. You have choices, and I would hope that I make more of the right choices than the wrong ones at this point. Because it's easy. It's sometimes, quite often, it's much harder to make the right choices,
Oh, yeah.
which is which is why there's so many people that get in trouble and fall hard. So
Yeah.
peace of mind. It's fleeting for me, in a sense. Being an artist, there's a sensitivity about me that kind of exposes me to more pain and sadness through my form of expression in music. So therefore, I can be more artists can be more vulnerable to them. Consequently, they often fall prey to alcohol and drugs because of that, because they're looking for something to mask the sadness and the pain, instead of recognizing it and using it as lubricant for their creativity.
The first time I had an opportunity to hear you play, your drumming style reminds me so much of Max Roach. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, your whole vibe. I have a Max Roach album where he did an album called Percussion, Bittersweet. And I've listened to that album over and over again. And you remind me so
Well,
much of
that's an amazing compliment, because
you.
he's one of the greatest.
Yeah, I mean,
Max was,
I've seen and I've listened to a lot of bands and a lot of drummers, and just listening to you is it's incredible. And here we are now, and you've gotten even better, which is even more.
well, you're very kind. I you know, I just keep doing what I'm doing, and doing it as well as I can do it. As long as I can do it. I'm 74, and I'm still enjoying it. I still feel like I'm playing at a fairly high level, and I like an old baseball pitcher. I replaced my fastball with a wicked slider.
That's
So.
all right.
I
As long as it's still getting as long as it's still getting across the plate and striking people out, man.
think it
That's all.
is.
That's all
I
that
think it
matters.
is.
But I gotta ask, when can we expect some new music from you?
Well, yeah, I've been thinking about that. So,
Okay.
the problem is I'm so preoccupied in keeping the band booked and working, and we're doing a good amount of shows, um, but I need to focus on that, because my band CTA And plus, I want to do, before my days are done, I want to do some projects, and one of them is another album with CTA. My That's my pet project, Labor of Love, and there's a big band project I started with a keyboardist, composer, arranger who passed away last year. His name is Peter Fish. Beautiful man. Um, so I want to finish that, but when, I can't tell you.
Because
When I set my sights and get focused on it, and I go after it, and hopefully uh, these next 3 months are, for the holidays are going to be kind of slow, and then January, February. So I'd like to focus on starting some new music.
I mean, it's desperately needed. I've had a multitude of listeners that have emailed me and say, "Hey, look, when is Danny getting back in the studio? When is he going to put out some new music?" And I'm like, "Well, look, when I get him on the show, I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna put his feet to the fire, and I'm gonna
All
ask
right,
him."
I appreciate that. Yeah, the band I'm in right now. Well, the one that I play with the most, CTA, California Transit Authority. Mark Bonilla on guitar, fabulous, amazing guitarist. Ed Roth on keyboards, also world class, amazing keyboardist. Travis Davis on bass and lead vocals. And currently we have Jeff Coffey, who was the original, who was not the original, but played with Chicago for a few years and sings lead, sings the high tenor parts that Peter Cetera sang. And I always have a great horn section. So, yeah, I need to get it done. Thanks for pushing me.
You would have to. I mean, don't
Yeah.
cheat us. Don't cheat us out of great music.
No, no. Well, I won't. I mean, I need to. I need. You know what? I got to set a goal during this time to really, instead of spending so much time on the golf course.
Oh, okay. I gotta. So, what's your handicap? I gotta ask, Danny.
14-1.
Wow. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
okay. I'm
Okay.
good. I'm good enough to have fun and play with most people. And I was, for a while, I took it way too seriously, and now I'm slowed down and enjoy it. And you know,
You have to. Life is based upon enjoyment. What have you? Some of the things that you've experienced over the years. What are some of the things that you've learned about yourself over the last 10 years that you didn't realize about just your attitude, behavior, outlook on life?
well, I don't have. What I've learned is that I don't feel like I have a need for like the big stage, like we're a grand success. I had a lot of it in my early years and younger years, and I really haven't. I mean, I still have a lot of success at a much smaller level, and I'm okay with that. Um, I don't know that I want to chase. I don't want to chase anything anymore. You know, I want to do things naturally as they come. I mean, you still have to have ambitions, but I don't want my ambitions to be so driven and so intense that I lose sight of of really what's important, and what's left in front of me to enjoy for what I have left in life.
Right. I
If that makes
understand.
sense. I hope
No,
that makes sense to you.
it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I think for me, when you have played at the highest level and you have toured the world and you have played in stadiums in front of 100,000, hundreds and thousands of people, and have that level of an adrenaline rush, how long does it take to kind of replace that?
Well, it. I mean, it replenishes. I mean, give me the question one more time, because
No, I was
I'm,
saying,
I'm
what I'm saying is that it can be said in this context that playing music for you and playing the drums for you is such an adrenaline rush, provides you that sanctuary. And when you play in front of so many people over the years, how do you go from that, as you say, now you're comfortable now, just you comfortable playing like in a smaller venue now? How long did it take for you to get somewhat comfortable with not being playing in front of that many people, being
well.
part of
I don't know. It's just with age, I've accepted it, and I'm happy, just as happy. Like we just played the Blue Note in Hawaii played
Okay.
four shows, and then there was like maybe 200, couple hundred a night, 300 if it was full. We're going to be playing Jazz Alley in Seattle, November
Okay.
um, 15th, 16th, and 17th, I believe. And it's as much of thrill as that. That's even and that experience is more intimate, more interactive. I'm talking to the audience when we're talking and getting feedback from them.
Okay.
Um, it's kind of been a natural evolution for me. So at first it was hard at first because it was kind of taken away from me. But um, once I kind of adjusted and started living in more of a normal new life, I enjoyed it actually.
What would you tell an aspiring upcoming artist and they came to you and were looking for advice as far as how to navigate through this music, this industry, this business? What would be some of the things that you would try to educate that artist on to be prepared for?
Well, you have to be prepared for failure and accepting failure and realizing that those failures make you better, and they're all part of it. And especially in the beginning phases of someone's career, and that's why the men get separated from the boys very quickly, and women as well as men.
Right.
The one men and women get separated from the men and the women. The girls and the women and the men and the boys.
Right.
So I don't want to be gender. I want to be give the ladies credit because they have as
Right.
much to deal with in some ways more, or they've had, but things have gotten better. So you just have to be prepared for that, and consequently you'll probably have to have a second job to support yourself while you're doing your music, and learn as much as you possibly can about your instrument and your craft. If you're a singer, learn how to sing. Try to. There's so much online you can learn from the great masters, and that's across the board. There's drummer, keyboardist, bassist, guitarist. There's so much more out there than what we had.
Right.
So uh, take advantage of all that and learn as much as you can, and be as open, and then learn about the business aspect of it. There's books about the business and publishing and writing and record royalties, and there's books out there that people can, and of course online there's books and there's seminars, and um, learn as much as you can and make
Yeah.
as many contacts as you can, friends, and learn your craft as well as you possibly can because you're going to need it. So,
Yeah.
and good things will happen, and don't expect to be I mean, if you're doing this to become a millionaire, well, some people do, and sometimes they're successful, and there has to be a certain amount of ambition, but if you have to do it for the love of the music, in my opinion, and then you'll have the energy and the food, soul food, so to speak, to keep going during the
Right.
hard times.
Without question. Two of the most important things that you just said, and I want a lot of the people that are tuning in and watching to understand: perfecting your craft, never cheating yourself, and understanding the business. Because when you started and you had all these major labels, a lot of artists, great artists like yourself, didn't really understand the business aspect of
No,
music. They
no,
just want to put you out there, sign you to a contract, and a lot of times you didn't understand if you were signing your life away as far as
yep,
royalties, uh, owning your masters. And as you just stated a minute ago, you have all these different online courses that can really give you a lesson, integral parts on how to learn the business side of music, how important it is to own your masters. It's amazing to me. I see the amount of artists that were on major labels at one time are now independent artists, or they have their own labels and they sign a
yeah.
distribution deal. What do you think about that now, as far as being an independent artist and having complete creative control over your music?
Well, there's a lot of power in that, but there's also, uh, you know, you don't have the financial support that we had with labels and all that.
Right.
So it's a double-edged sword. You better be prepared to kind of do everything yourself, and then if you then you build it to a certain point, then a company may come in and take it over from there. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the way it goes now. It's not like where the record labels will sign you and develop you like they used to and put money into you. It's a different business. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
that's really the way the business is now. And you got to be great at social media. You got to be strong at social media, and you got to be strong at the business and numbers game. So there's a lot of power to it, but it's also a heavy load to carry.
Oh yeah, without question.
Yeah.
A lot of great artists like yourself. One of the main topics they bring to me, they say, Teddy Bear, it has been a challenge to navigate now because you said everything is social media driven. It's not like when we had record stores, you could have meet and greets and meet the different fans and so forth. It's a whole completely different beast now.
Yeah.
And it really truly is. How long did it take you to learn how to guess to navigate through social media to make people aware of what you're doing?
I still haven't learned.
Okay.
I mean, I have a young lady by the name of Patty Malloy who does so much of it for me, and she connected me with you,
Yes.
and she's wonderful at this, and she understands it better than me. And to be honest, it's a full-time job, so you have to find somebody that believes in what you're doing, and pay them a little bit of money or what you can afford to pay them sometimes, and then take it from there.
Without question.
Yeah.
Well, for all the ones who are tuning in late, shame on you. But the teddy bear does forgive you. We're being joined by the legendary Mr. Danny Seraphin. And to get all the latest updates, make sure you stop by his official website. That's at www.dannyseraphin.com. He has some upcoming dates in November. Also, hopefully soon, we'll get that new music from him. And I promise when we get it, like grandma's cookies, I will definitely play it here first. And hopefully you'll make your way down here to Houston. I would love to come see
Yeah, I
you
want to
play.
play Houston. Yeah, man, I want to get. We really need to get to Houston. We definitely do. So
You would kill it. You would you
yeah.
would you would definitely kill it.
Well,
You would
it's been
kill it.
too long. Been way
Yeah.
too long.
Matter of fact, show you, I'm dating myself. The last time I seen you play, oh my God, this had to be about 1984. That's the last time I seen you play live. That's how long it's been.
Really?
1984.
Yeah, it's when Peter was still with the band.
that's
Yeah.
how that's how long it's been, and I'm
No,
like,
it's been too
wow,
long, my friend. So
it
yeah, we
has
need
been.
we need we need to get to Houston. There's no doubt. So
Yeah,
hopefully in 2023. You know.
we're praying on it. We're praying on
Okay.
it. But I want to thank you for taking time
Thanks,
out of
Teddy
your
Bear.
schedule and blessing me and blessing all
Yeah.
of our wonderful listeners. And whatever you need, please do not hesitate to let us know. We love you, we respect you, and we cannot wait to get some new music from you, brother. We really
Thank you, my
appreciate
brother.
it.
It's
All
so
right.
good to spend the morning with you, or
Uh-huh.
after early afternoon. Yeah, I've been up since 5:30.
Oh,
So.
okay. All
God bless,
right.
Teddy Bear. You take care, brother.
God bless
Say,
you too. The
yeah,
legendary Mr. Danny Seraphin here in the zone.
yeah. Maybe
Oh,
we should, Teddy.
yeah, I'm
Maybe we
here.
should say a little prayer for Patty. Patty's in the hospital with a kidney infection, so
Oh my
she's
goodness.
just say, maybe you
Well,
should say,
absolutely.
get everybody.
The
Yeah,
prayers definitely send out to her.
yeah,
Definitely. God bless you, man. Same to you.
yeah. Take care, brother.
All right, take care. The legendary Mr. Danny Seraphin here in the zone of LOTL Radio Night Tracks. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and tuning out all the negativity and family. Again, be sure stop by his official website to get all the latest updates. Yes, he is touring, he's doing live events. That's at www.dannyseraphin.com. Hey, better yet, why don't you make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel? That's at youtube.com Night Tracks Radio Podcast. You can also catch up with us on Facebook. That's at facebook.com/. LOTO Radio, The Zone. Also on Instagram. We're on Instagram also too. That's at Instagram.com, LOTL, The Comfort Zone Radio. And last but not least, we are on TikTok. Lord have mercy. Social media, a beautiful thing. We're on TikTok. That's at TikTok.com/LOTL Radio. So make sure you catch up with us, subscribe to our channels, get all the latest updates. I seen the need. I'm here to fulfill that need, to give you what you want. Blueprint music, blueprint artists, shaken but never stirred. Quality over quantity. Lord have mercy. As in always, keep it soulful here in the zone of LOTO Radio. God bless.